Good morning, universe. Cool. So, yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name's Dan. I am the futurist talking about the future. I'm glad you're all here with me right now. It's another gorgeous morning starting off on a Monday. Do, 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 do. Cool. So, yesterday, I was leaving things off with a futurist discussion talking about clothing, talking about streetwear, talking about how we can have our streetwear, our clothing in general, be helping along the path to a sustainably safe social interaction. So I mean, really, it's going to be one of those where you can't say too much about removing the human element from our lives. So instead of removing the human element from our lives, let's just let the human element approach us with block in appropriate places. Nothing to push or repel people, but something would essentially be there to give them the understanding of awareness of anything that could be going on with, let's say, you as a person. You could have a contagion that you don't want people around, and it could have a radius that your radius could kind of push people a little bit away from you. But if you do have to go out in the world and interact, you would be noticeable. And it sounds crazy because people want to say, I want to feel free to be able to interact with people and not have them look down upon me. But we need to also think right now we're getting to the size of a society where we have to take others very specifically into account as though they are us. It's tough to say because we as a society need to take ourselves as a society into account. Meaning, the way I say it is, you have to think of the other as you. Would you want you to be affecting you? So no, you wouldn't. No one would. No one wants to be a portion of the infected because that means there's got to be something there to hopefully start a cure. It's a set of hope that starts that will bring people into hopelessness quickly. So yesterday I was talking about the future of clothing, and I'll bring it up right now. Hold on. Go down, and I've already got me set up. But I was working in the I was working in Gimpage. Quite acting froggy. Do what I want. Okay. So I was working in GIMP right here, and I was working on some male clothing, where I was essentially saying I'm going to put a set of clothes onto this caricature here that is going to be representative of a fashion slash sense of safety. So what I would be saying with this is, if an individual were to have this, let's pick some fun colors here. Like, let's just say on a normal level, how would we say that properly? I'm trying to think. So let's say you're sick. You could possibly be showcasing a bubble of safety around yourself that only, let's say, another who's wearing some form of goggles or something could see. Now, they can see that. Let's say you don't have it. So if you don't have it, you're going to 10's too big. Let's bring this to 4. So you got yourself your minimum safe, your maximum safe distance. So anyone comes into this bubble, and let's just say you even can have it to where the whole time this is going on, you're going to be showcasing very specifically. Let me see here. Might as well go yellow. Right there. So you're going to have another distance. That's going to be showcasing people. Okay, now, once you start entering here, indicators are going to start to alert you to the presence, you're going to know before this, but once you start entering into here, so you're going to be able to see these unique coloring paths. Ett affär. Did it do it? I don't know if it did or not. So this dude right here is coming cruising up, and he's got himself on a set of goggles. Stroke selection, there it is. What was I thinking? So you can even, and then of course I'll go all the way for this, just because it will have the full effect. What am I doing? I gotta create the path first, don't I? So we're gonna make it where you can say you're gonna even have it set to where you're gonna have a clear range for everyone to fully see your safety range. Okay. Let's do it. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. So this dude knows he's now entering into the orange range right here. This guy here obviously has something that makes him actually not approachable, so he's going to have a red zone. This is going to be set off via whatever this dude's wearing right here. Female clothes is going to be something different. So I have it set up to where you can kind of tell what I'm trying to go for here. So you're going to be able to, let's say this guy here has, let's do this. Oh man, did I put those on top? That doesn't even matter really. I can care less. So this dude comes walking up right here, and he is going to have himself. Let's just say he's got glasses that give him this ability to see this field. So let's just say this person's going up to that border right there to the orange zone to talk to this person. So this person now can talk to this person, you know, conveniently, as close as safely possible from what is being read from whatever this individual is trying to portray. So that's the tech I'm looking at right now. So that's something kind of lightly simple, to the point where if these little things right here were sensors and pads, they could actually be throwing off like a hologram that could be, you know, showing itself right here in front of the dude, to where the thing would have like a stop sign or something right there. So there would be a stop sign type thing right here. That would just be kind of a hologram that could warn someone, please stop, you're entering my danger zone. And that way there's a convenience to the person. They don't have to walk around always with something that's maybe showing, maybe they can even have hide mode or something like that, so that way it only shows them on a hologram, so that way they don't have to be showing it on there. Because if you had the goggles on and everyone's kind of reading a form of information amongst the interface, and you're able to literally visually see the world around you, some people may have it on gray or something, so they're kind of hiding whatever they want because they're just trying, they may have a security they don't want people paying attention to. That's their own thing. They just, or they don't like being bugged that way. They would rather you approach. And it could even be something of that nature. Some people may be very open to just letting anyone just seeing, or if you do have a full-on contagion, would be the only time maybe this pops up, where you would have a zone pop up around the person. But once again, if you're that person, do you want to be bugged? Like, you'd be seeing the world part around you, and that may not be exactly, working for maybe your mental state at the time. So I don't know. That there's got to be something to this that would be convenient. Like I said, some of the clothing could literally have holograms that would stop a person very individually. So maybe it could be lightly discreet, but it can say something kind of like, please do not, stand back. I'm contagious. Boom, boom, boom. But it could be for the standard things. It could just be for your common cold. People coming close. And people can come close, and you can be like, it's just the cold, but I don't want you near me. And your clothes would kind of tell people for you instead of you having to kind of stand back. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. You cough, boom, and then people come close. They do come in to shake your hand, or they do come into your zone. But if something were to be able to kind of tell people, this would, and it could be just weaved into normal situations, normal clothes. And once again, fabric of society, things get normalized quickly, and since this is happening, people are already staying away from their own families, and because of that, I don't want people to feel that there's no coming back to normal, when really this, to me, can bring things back to normal quickly. I mean, even so much so as regulating you a little more that you're not paying attention to. Like, you may have a fever, you don't know, so it may regulate for you. The temperature is rising, boom. So I can conceive clothes of the future being a lot more functional and technology fashion. I was starting off yesterday. If you watch yesterday's podcast, our videocast, I was talking about. It's just, I see people getting ready to almost go into Cyborgville, where they're going to be doing more of. Let me see here. I have it set. So yeah, like this. This is a Overwatch. This is like an Overwatch esports. But see how they do the thing where they're pretty much going to say, hey, people are going to really cyborg up. Like full face remodeling over an exoskeleton type thing that we're going to be applying to ourselves almost. Like, we're going to be doing this to ourselves. I don't know. That right there, I'm saying, why wouldn't we put it into our clothes first? I mean, the weaving it into our actual physical structure, I can see people doing it. Doesn't mean it's one of those where I can see that, like, it's, let me see, here's another one. A lot of steampunk style cyborg or cyberpunk. See, like the hands, hologram off the hand, full facial connectivity, exoskeleton-y style, like you can see right through here. I don't know if they forgot something. And that's looking through her neck to the back of this, because it almost looks like they forgot to finish this part right here in the center, or it could be open. Good, whatever. So this is probably going to be a little bit closer. So these are the real, I'm not going to go into them, but these are the real people who do. Is that a real person on that? That could be a real chick doing that too, because if that's actual done up prosthetics, that's tight. I love doing prosthetics. I do prosthetics. Facial, for like movies and stuff. Although I've done some animatronics for a movie prop. So yeah, this is the fashion that I'm kind of talking about, like real future fashion. Where is it going to go? Now, future fashion could be literally plug-ins and stuff to your body, and who knows? I hope not. I hope we stay as normal as possible. But what is normal? Things will change. Whatever. This all starts from really because I mean I was a huge anime fan myself, so I got myself going back in the day with comic books and beyond, but my buddies were always into the upfront of anime. I was an artist, but I was always kind of doing my own thing. I was never paying attention to anybody else. I still to this day kind of only do my own thing. But I got into paying attention through my friends of other artists, which they would take and actually duplicate their styles with quality, and just it made them a lot more of an efficient artist. I was always just kind of taking off on my own thing and characters to everything. But with it, I did start to get into anime with them. And back in the day, we would use a term. I hope they're okay with this, because this is the term that Americans used back in the early day, which was Japanimation, which we all now call anime. Which huge fan of Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli. Everyone there who puts in time and quality effort to bringing us a new world to think about, how things can and could be. So that's the same thing that most of the anime I would always saw. So I mean, I used to watch Akira. Yeah, it was such a great freaking movie. I used to love watching Akira. I watched it so many times, over and over and over again. But there was other ones too. Back in the day, I used to watch. My buddies had Bubblegum Crisis, so I used to watch the girls who had the tech. So that's the way I grew up. I used to always think to myself, there really is no. If tech gets good enough, there is no strength issue anymore, which is kind of the common denominator. So could women, if strength or whatever was not an issue, could tech make them, would they be stronger warriors, or more savvy warriors? Because then strength wouldn't be an issue anymore, like I said. So would they be more savvy warriors? Don't know. But that was always proposed in the anime that I used to watch back in the day. So just looking at streetwear of the future, what people are thinking. I like the cover up right now because as of things are, I like the full facial cover up. I wish there was a way to have the cover up with a representation of you somehow. So now your style can kind of make now independence can come into it a little bit. Is it your face over the thing, but stylized to be you? I mean, is there a way to fingerprint fashion to where it would notably be you? Something to think about. Fashion people out there. Can you fingerprint a fashion to be notably one person, so that if they're wearing it full face, full covered, you would know who they were? Something to think about. Something to think about. So yeah, I mean, I've always liked the classic, but that looks so freaking 50s awesome. Like the girl even looks almost like schoolgirl ish. It just looks freaking just awesome. I love that. Flip, that's just insane. Freaking crispy artwork. I love that. The lines on that freaking. See, I had a back in the day. My grandfather had a his car collection. Not a car collection. He just had a really sweet old car. Kept it real good. He used to take it to car shows and stuff. So I mean, like, the inside of the engine was clean and tight. So I used to love looking at that as almost a futuristic, because they did look at the lines, the way everything kind of has teardrops, so it looks smooth. I love look how that drops out. Jeez, it looks so freaking. Look at the bumper. It just looks so freaking cool. And I do like how the girl looks just like she's about ready to go to school on it or something like that. College. Flip that. It looks like a scooter, like a Vespa too. That's awesome. That's where I like to be in the future, like that, where it's gonna be more steampunky like this. There's something to what's going on in this engine bay that's making this thing stay and hover. but it looks like they brought it back to a era when everything form followed function. So something mechanical is happening in this thing, not something electronic. I think everyone's expecting to have a lot of electronic technology, like you see a lot of people with holograms and stuff. But maybe we're going the wrong way with this. Maybe things can be so simplified that it steps back into an era that almost looks like I said, like this. This is just freaking, that is such an awesome, I want to make that vehicle. I want it to work. I want to be cruising around on that. Flying is one thing, but there's something to stepping off gravity's first plane and being on its own. I don't know if it's a single step up to where no longer does it need to be sitting on the ground. As a matter of fact, it won't sit on the ground, maybe? I don't know. Sci-fi movies see circular structures. There's something to that. Tubing, tunneling, looking things like this. Especially in deserty areas. Think about that. If you were to build a city like this, and the sand can just pile up and then bury over, who cares? So that right there is circular. I love how that's working right there. Even when it comes down to like backpacks, people are gonna be. I'm gonna say, where could things go? Things can go very tight and compact. Backpacks, things are getting smaller. Everything, electronics to everything's getting smaller. Because of 3D printers, you can make armatures that could be a lot thinner, a lot smaller, with less places for dynamic breakage due to being printed as one. Retrofuturism. Oh, I love that's just steampunk right there. That's all you just say that. Retrofuturism. I like that. See, I do like that. I think there'd be a couple of more functions of. See, they're really trying to pull away from the idea of flying, and I do see why. I really do. There's no reason for people to be just buzzing anywhere. And like I said, until we can say to ourselves, we accept the fact that our vehicle will take care of us proper, but at the same time, we will not go into these airspaces that are deemed for whatever reason. So once we do that, and we say to ourselves, I'm willing to tell my car I want to go to LA from here, and even though I may go a weird flight that may take me low and around and up and down, it's doing it for airborne reasons, FAA reasons, flight pattern reasons, and we have to accept that. And until that, like, we'd almost be saying, I'm giving up responsibility of really flying my vehicle until maybe you enter a very specific airspace where then you can then take over flight, maybe. I don't know. And once again, I think there's ways to teach people how to fly very easily. There's video games. If you made a video game that was set up to actually teach kids how to fly as young as you want, start teaching them when they're kids, real young kids. So you could be having your youth learning how to fly via video games. We do it already when it comes to driving games. Kids can buy Gran Turismo. All those games that are out there. I mean, heck, they're out there on other version games that are out there. So, I mean, I'm looking at the future city, but once again, I'm now looking down and saying, what's the future fashion really going to be? It's going to be mobile. I think you're going to want to be able to have 2-in-1 functions on a lot of these things. Some people are going to want to be able to go straight to the urban city life quickly, but then be able to toss themselves into, let's say, business wear like that, by just maybe taking a couple of different things and reversing them, doing some quick stuff, and you can be now in another set of clothes damn near. So, I mean, I look at it, I look at it and say right now there's a lot of people who want to go work out at certain times but still come back quickly. And how do we function faster? I think we're not going to be going to offices as much. So all these cityscapes may not be what we really are looking at right now. Maybe not for a long time like this. Maybe we will have a lot more autonomy. Maybe people will build up but homes, but I think they'll be more podular. So I think everything would have its own podular entity so things can be connected more or less. If you're going to, that's why I think flying would be an option. So that way you can have your vehicle be a podular entity to whatever unit you are going to be working for. So if you're going to be working for an office, you would fly your car slash office to connect up. And from there, there could be ways to then, interact, but in a way that would be a lot less interactive. I mean, just thinking that that's the way I've been thinking for a while. Is it's going to be a lot more autonomy, anonymity, but at the same time connectivity in the right ways. So that way, it would just be easier to know the groups of people. Right now, if you think about it, everyone can just randomly slide across thousands of people's lives every day in a weird way. You go in and cough in a superstore all over the place, and then those people, they cough all, and then, as things, progress outwardly, things can, you didn't know it, but you kind of slid across a lot of lives. So when it comes down to where do I see the future of us, I see us as having the ability to be exclusive in a full-on city through our fashion, through our transportation and mobility. I do believe that people may have, differences of like I can conceive of a vehicle that is very mobile, upwardly mobile, should I say. Can fashion then be doing that as well for us? Could the backpack we have be a mobile backpack that then makes us? I don't think people are gonna. Everyone thinks, it would have to be a rocket pack or something that will be blowing air. I don't conceive that. I think quite soon people will be manipulating the direction of gravity, not gravity. It's not like all of a sudden they'll turn off a switch in an area. No, it's more like creating a vortex well of gravity that could be pushing the other direction. There's ways of doing that, perceivably. So with that, if you can perceivably move gravity in another direction, what happens to it as it goes in another direction? Does it move you? Can you move? So once again, I think it's not going to be air blowing down. I don't think it's going to be propulsion of that nature. I think it's going to be more of a push or a holding on to something, pushing or pulling. How would I conceive that? Because I know what I'm thinking right now, but to actually make sense of it would be if you had a generator that was able to maneuver gravity essentially in a direction. It wouldn't need to have any air blowing. You could just be using force. I'll save that for a whole nother episode. But you can you can move the force in a direction that would then be not manipulating anything down below to be pushing. So you wouldn't be sucking air or pushing. You would just be changing things from wanting to be moving downward to throwing weight and then holding on to that weight in a way. It's hard. I have a system for this, but there's a way to actually maneuver weight in such a way that you're using the kinetic force to be moving you. So you'd be using kinetic energy. So I can conceive things using kinetic energy more or less to maybe manipulate gravity going the other direction. It would have to be something. That one's for another situation. So with that, I can say maybe you can get that weaved into your clothing, your backpack, your shoes, your belt. You know, something where it would be doing that, and you can be anywhere, and it wouldn't be affecting anyone. You wouldn't be blowing air, blowing paper. Nothing would be getting sucked in. There'd be no vortex. Birds wouldn't get sucked in. You wouldn't suck in tree branches when you fly up. It would be just a force. So it wouldn't really be anything. It would just be moving you upward. So with that upward force, you would be then taking that upward force to then apply into some sort of generator. That generator would then be what? Backpack? Bottom of the shoes? Could. I'd probably want it on my back. Maybe in 2 points. Standard rocket style, kind of up over that. Then maybe it can come up over the shoulder a little bit. I don't know what the gravity well would be doing. Would it be manipulating? So if you put it on your feet, would it be manipulating everything above it? Like a radiation wave? I don't know. I don't want to be dealing with that right now. Would it be making your circulation and your body pump differently? I don't know. I don't want to deal with that. So I'd put them above me, generating, pulling above, and then you'd be utilizing that in some way. So once again, I'd say for the most part, I would be looking at future vehicles, future system, future social networking being able to move a lot more freely. But once again, you would have to expect the fact that you won't be able to go wherever you want. That's just the way it goes. We aren't able to go wherever we want right now. We just don't accept that fact because there's roads. And then you look off and you say, well, yeah, but if I wanted to really break the rules and go to that weird place, I'd have to drive through this. Can't do it. It's just impossible for me to drive that way. Even on a horse, I couldn't do it. So some of these areas are restricted to us to the point where we're like, yeah, it's not even worth doing it, so I can't, so no worries. But right now, if there was vehicles that could get us there, then we would have to have restrictions because we aren't allowed there. It's for our better good in so many ways, probably, for us to not go to these places. So we'd have to give up the expectations of being able to just go anywhere. As a matter of fact, if you had that on your backpack and you were going to one of those places, it'd just suddenly probably just be pulling you back and stopping you and not allowing you to go any further, and then somehow saying this is a restricted zone. If you keep doing this, you will be contacting the local authorities type thing. So doing specific things would be you making an action in real life stating, I want to do this. So if there was a flying vehicle and you were just running into a wall that didn't want to let you in because the electronics were now saying, sorry, you can't do this. This is against the restrictions of this vehicle. And if you keep going this direction, you will alert the authorities. Now, that right there seems very respectable to me. And once again, are there things that, yes, can happen in a way that would reduce your freedoms completely with that kind of a vehicle? I don't know if there's a way to rectify that right now through programming in a way that would say, it's your vehicle until you do just that. I don't know. That would make me say if they could stop you from doing that, they could probably take over a vehicle and fly you straight to the nearest police station. It's not like we're going to go, you do that for 5 seconds, and all of a sudden it's like, sorry, and then it just takes you to the nearest. So once again, that would be kind of what it would be. So yes, to fly a vehicle would be, to have a flying vehicle would be for you to realize, I am going to be a good citizen, follow the rules, because if not, my vehicle is going to fly me to the nearest jail. So you have to be, responsible with these efforts as well. So that's where I'm looking to say, policies toward this are very important, and policies take forever. So really, these things have to start on more of a level of, can we make bills and laws to make sense of all these all these new things that kind of need to happen for us to be at this level of humanity. There's just so many of us right now, and for a lot of people, it's not. Well, we're reading Earth can handle more. Yeah, Earth can handle quite a bit more. Doesn't mean it needs to be burdened so much more. I do believe we have got ourselves to the points in humanity where we can actually reduce some of the complicated portions of things into a smoother simplicity of nature itself, to where we'll be a lot more functional, returning a lot more, wasting a lot less, reusing as much as possible in a way that we as people will be a lot more connected but disconnected as well. So that way, safety in numbers, but safe alone. It's hard to explain. There's got to be a way for us to have our stay away from me right now. This zone right here is unsafe. How do you tell people that without forgetting yourself and walking yourself into a situation where you shouldn't have done that and maybe infected people with a cough or a cold or anything? So our clothes could be a big fashion point for that. Like I said, there's some things that are just streetwear, you know. I like the urban style streetwear that has like the buckles and the belts and stuff like that. I don't know why. It just seems more functional. So yeah, how can we get ourselves to the next level of the future, the way we've always kind of seen it? Where are the flying cars? Where are all these things? Well, there's got to be policies involved before we just go fly a car. It's not going to work. They're going to want to see that we're going to be responsible with our ability to accept this. What is a flying car but a huge responsibility? The government's accepted us to have, the governments, the cities, the states have accepted us to have cars for so long, and that's a large responsibility. And with it, we've built an infrastructure to handle that completely. So with it, I'm saying we've got to accept the fact that somewhere there's got to be new bills, new laws, new policies starting somewhere, and we're sitting around wanting the future to happen, I think, without saying, yeah, well, we got to go to our policymakers in a way that has more than just, we want this. There better be a lot of policy behind it, a lot of bills, like looking, here's where we can set up our first bill here, and then here, and then here, and then start a plan. We have to be going that direction. That's what this channel is really going to be all about. This channel is going to be literally set up for us to start saying, okay, if this is going to happen, who's going to be responsible for it? So right now we're talking about clothes, we're talking about all this. So where's the industry going to be for this? We're going to have to start talking to clothing companies. How do we weave this kind of technology into it? Technology companies, Silicon Valley, all these places that are going to be able to jump into this new wave of possible thinking, programmers, fashion designers. There's so many more industries that can come out of this that will be a lot more lasting too. How does this stuff, how do we design it? And then how do we tear it apart too? That's going to be the next future. Is now we got to start thinking about two industries in the same industry. I think that's going to be allowing us to have a lot more jobs, but at the same time also having a better cycle of product delivery to product and to product reuse. So it's got to be like a three-way cycle here. We've got it from product beginning to product end, but end always ends up in a dump somewhere, and the dump is just filling up, and we need to be using that stuff. It's kind of like, yeah, well, that's what dumps are for. It's like, yeah, but there's so much plastic in dumps now that we're starting to realize if we use so much of that plastic that's in there right now can be reused on 3D printers. 3D printers get bigger and bigger. As we get bigger and bigger with them, there's going to be more need for that kind of plastic. And where's that plastic at? Sitting in dumps. It's like, damn, we could have been using that. If we would have only thought ahead, we would be thinking, where are we going to be reusing the end product? Because there is a place for that now. And if we do this right, we should be able to, for the most part, um, then say, here's the other industries that can be easily set up for doing this. When I say easily, not at all, but that's how easy it is for me just to blah, blah, blah. So there's industries to be made. There's things to be done to make this new idea of a society work, because that's all that really is going to be coming out of what I see happening right now is a brand new society's thinking. So with that, there's going to be policies and things that can be done real fast to get us into a new world thinking, because there's too many people around us from all over the place, and there's no way to stop it, and it's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, there's going to be a new way of saying my clothes can now respectfully then maybe also translate for me, so you can then understand between each other. We can actually start communicating through languages, through translations, where maybe if I speak, my hologram would pop up and it would say everything in text, so the person can read at least read what I'm saying in a contextual form. Things can start working in ways for us in that kind of a manner. So, there's ways our technology can be weaved into our fabric, not into us, is where I'm going. So, I'm going to be wrapping this up. This is episode 11 right now. If you guys like this, please subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the likes, make some comments. I want to know what everyone's thinking right now. This is my live show, but of course it's going to go out, and people are obviously watching this more on the few watches that I do get right now are only watched after on my live. So maybe I'm at the wrong time. Tell me if the time slot's not the right place. Because if it's not, I will set this to another time, because I do want this to be a major discussion that we all need to be talking about. So, my name's Dan. I'm the futurist talking about the future. Please come join me, and we'll have some fun talking about where we're going with things. Okay, everybody? I love y'all. Peace, and I'll see you tomorrow.